Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and another video. Let's play the intro and get right into it. Yes, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and another video. And as you can see, it's the usual crew when I leave this lastminute.com, excluding one. If you are watching / listening, Melvin, apologies for not having you here. This was, like I said, it's very thrown together as I normally do. But yes, as you can see, I've got Mr. Neil Shah with us. Neil, how are we?
I'm all right, thank you very much, James. Thank you for having me on. I'd almost pushed that game to oblivion, to the depths of my soul. And he goes, "Guess what? We're going to talk about the Liverpool game." I was going, "Oh, damn, James." Only joking. Thank you for having me on. Pleasure to be here.
No, I don't mind if you are fuming because if I had a choice, Neil, if I didn't commit to myself going, you have to speak about every game each season, James. You can't just be on when you win. You got to do these things. So, yeah, no, I appreciate you being here. And again, as well, the head honcho from Arsenal above all. Michael, how are you, sir?
How you doing, James? How you doing, Neil? Good to see you guys. It's always a pleasure coming on, and looking forward to having proper football back. And just glad that we've had our boys have had a good international break of sorts. But no, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure, mate.
No, yeah, and if they can carry any of this international form into into club form, we're going to be, you're going to be bothering, you're going to be non-stop asking me to come on. I think we're all going to be wanting to go on everywhere that we like because they're all scoring or assisting, most of the attacking players, midfield players. So happy days. But yeah, let's smash ourselves back down to earth as hard as we can. Liverpool, obviously away at Anfield before the international break. A 1-0 loss. I'll try and keep this as sensible as I can and as quick as I can because obviously we don't want to talk about it as much as we can. I'm glad we're doing it now. I did an instant reaction over on the Highbury squad that went about as well as a fart in church, I reckon is the best way I could describe it. If you ever wanted to see how split the Arsenal fan base is, just read the YouTube comments on that one episode because it was absolutely vicious. But there we go. But I'll go to you first, Mike, because I know, Neil, that you're not the best with the lineup questions. You don't really like them. But this is more on not just tactic stuff, more on how you felt. But I'll go to you first, Mike. Obviously, we did the show a couple of weeks back, and we've been back and forth with each other like we normally are in all the groups. And I think the main consensus was none of us believe we have the divine right to go to Anfield and win. I don't think that, none of us were absolutely, we are smashing these to bits, well, we weren't arrogant with it per se, in my opinion. But we did believe, looking at what we've seen from the Charity Shield onwards, they look ropey at the back. We've just done £172 million on a strike force. Let's go up there, show the best version of ourselves, play the players that we've just bought. And that lineup come out. And obviously, Mikel Moreno is in for Odegaard. And Martinelli, you could say, he's in for Saka because Madueke played against Leeds on the left-hand side and they swapped them. But how did that make you feel and think, Mike? Because for me, initially, as soon as I saw that lineup, the small confidence that I had immediately evaporated, really, for me. And I know I'm going to get bashed with a negative brush there, but yeah, I'm so many years in now that looking at lineups and even how they line up when they come out, I can sort of. My dad always said to me, "There will come a time, son, where you can see him in either when you're there or when you're watching on the television. You'll see in their eyes and just how they're standing and their demeanour whether they're going to win or lose. You'll know before a ball's even kicked." And I looked at that and I thought, best we're going to get to draw here. But
Yeah,
what say you?
yeah, I'm the same. I think when the lineup dropped, I put it in the chat, and I think my words was he's gone safe again. And I think obviously after the Leeds result and Eze arriving and the way the game transpired with the injuries, we all kind of thought, okay, it's going to be great seeing Eze make his debut at Anfield. He's played against them recently, he scored against them as well. It's going to be, it's going to be great to see him there. We can actually go there and go on the front foot a little bit. So yeah, when the lineup came out, it was like, it's like a balloon, kind of let out a little bit of air, a little bit deflated, thinking, okay, Mourinho's in there, he's kind of going to be a little bit more defensive and stuff. And yeah, I mean, the great thing with the Arsenal fan base is the way they look at things in hindsight. People are saying, Mourinho didn't start any of the games, this season, but they can see why he would have been brought in for this game, and you can see what Arteta was trying to do. And my argument is, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, we couldn't go to Anfield and go on the front foot because it would have been a basketball game, and we would have lost." But, people are so matter of fact that if we'd have went into in an attacking sense, we would have lost the game. Well, people bang on, about how great we are defensively, that we're the best defensive unit in Europe, that we're the best team in Europe out of possession. And then all of a sudden they're saying, well, we can't go to Anfield and play like that because, so which is it? Is it we are really good defensively, we are really good out of possession? Well, here's a chance to prove that, but you don't have the confidence. So I think that goes back to Arteta as well. He didn't back himself in that regards. You've got the defence, you've got the defensive structure and everything. Just have a bit more, just be a little bit braver, and especially in a big game like that. We're not going to lose the league just on that result, but it would have just sent a statement to everybody. And I just thought it smacked of him just being a bit safe and cautious again, in a big game away from home. But yeah, just slightly deflated when I saw the lineup, mate.
Yeah, and Neil, I mean, Mike makes a great point there that has been echoed by many people. But again, the word I like to use there is the intent. Do you feel, and again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, I know that, but do you feel that the intent of that lineup felt like he was going for it, in your opinion, to win? Or do you feel still that it was, like Mike said, he was playing it safe?
I firstly completely agree with everything Mike has just said there. I will say this: I didn't see anything different from that game to what we were failing last season. Too many draws, playing for draws. I felt like the lineup was set up for a draw. I think even at the end, I noticed that before they scored their goal, we were happy to just let it be and play out as a 0-0. That's how I felt. I could be completely wrong, but watching it as a fan, I didn't really see anything spark, of any kind of real intensity. I mean, we had one shot on target, I think, all game. It was something ridiculous. And you just think that, hang on a second. Michael made a great point about the defence. We have got an amazing defence. I think it is the best defence in the Prem, if not in Europe, but certainly the Prem. And let them do their job. So then we can use the attackers to do what they need to do. But if you're going to just play it safe, have another 2 or 3 central CDMs as well. So you're going to have more than half your team as defenders. And then even though the attackers that you've got, they're not the most creative. I mean, what's he doing about Ethan? Why, if he's got a new contract, trust him. Why didn't he play Eze? Eze, as Michael said, he only played a couple of weeks ago and he's ready to go. You play him, you throw him in. Maybe he thought, Gyökeres was enough as a change. But I mean, we're going to go on to the other one player in particular for me, which is quite a U-turn for me. Maybe a bit later we'll talk about that. But you know that if a player is certainly not in form going forward, you now have options with the money you've spent, and you're not trusting that. Why are you not trusting that? I'm going to be completely honest, and I don't care if I get pilters. That loss is all on Arteta. Forget the players. That I think he got the tactics wrong, the strategy wrong, and he wasn't brave enough. And he's just hidden in his little shell again that, oh, yeah, it's okay because it's Liverpool away and it's the top 6. So I've done a really good job getting a draw because we're not getting pounded 8-0 anymore. No, we're here to win. And I think it is important to win that game as early as the 3rd, because that means we would have gone to United away and Anfield away, which I think we were quite capable of winning. I really do believe that. And it wasn't being arrogant. And I think, if we had been more brave in the first half, we probably would have won that game if we'd chosen a couple of different players. So it is important because it is, as Michael said, intent. You start as you mean to go on. We have to stop going for these draws, otherwise we're not going to win the Premiership.
Yeah, no. I think it's spot on. And then there's another consensus moment here already, and that to me is something that again, I don't like referring to those YouTube comments, but I had someone try and throw me under the bus with this, was the way that I said about Saliba and the injury. I think it was 4 or 5 minutes into the game, but he done this in the warm-up, and he was helped off after the warm-up. You could see that he was clearly uncomfortable, had the physio and the medical guy with him completely. Now, I know that a player, especially when it's Anfield away, is never going to go, no, don't play me. But we know that Mikel's been pulled up on this. We know that and we've seen it with, if you want to go even further back, the Tottenham Hotspur one where Thomas Partey gets hurt, doesn't he? And he's pushing him back on.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's done. He's fucked. Like don't he's finito. Like what are you? And I know that for
Timber. Beginning of the season.
There's loads of them. There's loads of them we can go into. But I just thought to myself, there's a sub there that you've wasted because you didn't have to play him. You could have, the night before, I think was the West Ham Chelsea, wasn't it? Where they absolutely slapped it. And Cole Palmer was like, and I know that he's an attacking player and Chelsea have got every footballer, they've got all the footballers in the world. But I just thought it was unnecessary. I'm like, that's later on in the game, you're probably, and this is the thing, this season, which I've loved him doing, I'll compliment him on this. He has used every single one of his 5 subs in every game, which for him is never, he always used to hide behind the fact that I haven't got someone that can do this in both boxes. I haven't got someone. Well, now he has everything. And that's why I think the pressure is going to get to him as well, because he cannot hide from the fact now that everything, like you said, Neil, everything that goes wrong is solely, especially this one for me, and I agree with you, it's solely on you because you have got everything at your disposal. You've got everything at your disposal now. There is nowhere for you to sort of hide, create a siege mentality. Oh, it's me and my players versus everybody. And I tell you as well, other than this injury that sort of got on my nerves, what I didn't like again was before the game, and I understand it, but the club, Instagram, Twitter, another video, I'm like, just let games be games. Why does every game that we play have to be a pressure cooker scenario? I'm like, they're already stressed. Probably they're already like, no. And for me, us fans know that these are big games, so we don't need any extra G'ing up or to make any more noise or be as louder or anything. We know, and they must know as players, because if they don't, then I think we're in a worse position. If they don't know how important Anfield away is, regardless of if it's the 3rd game of your season, 1st game, 2nd game, last game, they're your closest competitor to you in the league, to winning this title. They've even said the day before, "Oh, Arsenal were the favourites. They've been together for 6 years. We've just bought a brand new. We're all new. We barely know each other. We haven't developed relationships yet." Net spend. They're making all these stuff up to try and, we're Liverpool, the plucky underdogs that have just spent nearly 500 million in one window, but we're plucky little Liverpool. And that to me has got to stop. That where every single match is a pressure cooker type scenario. I know it's all about your traction and you want to sell your new training kit that you released today. I know they've released another fashion line today, haven't they, for the European? We've got European training kit and league training kit and
I just sorry, James, just jump in there.
No, go for it.
It got to the point for me when he did the Champions League one for PSV, when he was like saying, he actually featured on the video saying, I want you to bring your boots, I want you to bring your shin pads, I want you to bring, this big, pleading for the fans to play their part, and just getting too over emotional on it, and just not focusing on the job in hand, and just making it, bigger than what it already was. It's a Champions League semi-final, the first one in God knows how many years, and he's doing stuff like that, and again contradicting himself, because he's gone back many years ago talking about overplaying games and the emotional side of it, and he just went crazy in that instance. It was almost like, oh my God, I've managed this club to the Champions League semi-final. Everyone's going to be watching, and he's actually featuring in a video, like a hype video, not just a clip of him just not saying anything. He's actually talking to the camera. So yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's the way of the world now. It's social media, isn't it? This is what they do now. They put stuff out, pump stuff out, and hype videos. And yeah, after a while, it's it just gets a bit cringeworthy, really. Especially when you lose a game, when you talk about making a statement, and you go there and you don't make a statement. You know what I mean? It's it's getting a bit cringe now, and they need to sort of dial it back a little bit, I think, and just focus on just doing the talking on the pitch.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. But Neil, I'll throw it to you. Obviously, Mosquera had to step in, and for me, what did you make of his performance, his contribution? Because I thought he was superb on the day. I really did.
It's flawless. You didn't realise that Saliba had gone. I did. I'd forgot. And this is, I know this is, you might think, oh, I'm just saying this. I completely forgot that Saliba had gone off the pitch, because it was so early. And then, because then I was.
I think, Neil, I think that's the nicest compliment you can pay. Without you notice no drop off.
I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
So that tells me that he's more than capable of playing in that position effectively at the highest level, because you're playing the champions. So it can't get any higher at the moment this season, can it? And it's away. And to be honest, even the goal they scored, nothing to do with him. I don't think it was anything to do with, well, not that I can remember, but I don't think it was anything to do with him. It was Scooby-Dooby-Doo. He didn't have his Scooby snacks, and he got it wrong. So, I think it was a flawless performance from him. And I'm not even worried that Saliba's out. Whereas that season where we lost him, was it two seasons ago? The first season where we had a chance, and we lost Saliba and who was the other defender? Tomiyasu.
Tomiyasu,
European game. That I always said was as the main cause of us losing the championship to City that year. This time, Saliba's out right at the start, given all the other injury issues we've had so far already, 3 games in. In fact, that was just two and a bit games in, and it was our 4th or 5th injury. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But to be honest, didn't see any difference. And I think Mosquito is I think he's Saliba on roids, man. He's amazing. And I say that with the nicest possible way, not meaning factually, but brilliant.
Yeah. And Mike, what about yourself? Obviously, with Mosquera, I mean, there's very little thin air that we can pluck at positively with the game, but he's definitely in there for me.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Bit shaky in the first couple of touches, which was totally understandable, wasn't it? Is he 20? Is he 20, 21?
I think he's 22.
22, sorry.
Probably might even be younger. I'll double check.
Yeah, I mean, just ridiculous. Second half, he kind of, everything that came his way, dealt with it. I know I could see he got in and scored that goal that was offside. But other than that, yeah, just a brilliant performance, as Neil said. Got to a point where you just didn't even realise like Saliba was missing there. It bodes well, because he seems like he can play all across the back as well, and he can plug in anywhere. But yeah, a brilliant performance from him, and a brilliant bit of magic in the transfer window from Berta, really, as well. You've got to say that for the price we got him as well, and he looks like he's absolutely legit, solid, and hopefully, like I said, when the rotation comes in, there's not going to be a drop off, in especially when things start to ramp up with the Champions League next week as well. So But yeah, brilliant performance from him. And you know, I think Arteta got his you know, he normally gets his brain scrambled a bit when he loses a game, and he was saying, "Oh, this is his debut." It wasn't, you know, he kind of forgot that he gave him his debut the week before. But that's kind of Arteta, what he's like when he when he loses a game. But no, brilliant performance from him. Really, really good.
Yeah, and you make a great point there as well for the price that we paid for him. And Neil, thanks for that as well. Yeah, I double checked. He's 21 years old. But the price and the age, and you look at some of the other teams and they're defending. I mean, they're desperate for centre backs. And this guy, I'm like, what a masterstroke that is. Obviously, Berta said, you know, he's been watching the old Valencia and La Liga while he's been over there. Apparently, he's kept tabs on him since he was about 18, 19. So there's clearly, you know, he's clearly got a pull, not just in terms of getting these players over the line, but he's got a brain, he's got a scouting network in there to find people like this. And if that's the way we're going to go, if we're going to buy a few superstars a season, but then have 2 or 3 of these that come under the radar, I'll take that. I'll take that every transfer window. Thank you very much. I think he's a very, very astute signing. But on to another signing. And Neil, I think this is what you were wanting to talk about earlier. And you said it, 1 shot on target all game, and it fell to Madueke. And for me, in terms of the attacking players, now I can't really say much on Gyökeres due to the fact that just no service into him. Again, a lot of people digging him out and could he have done more for himself? And, Konate and Van Dijk. If you thought that Liverpool's back 4 were going to be as bad as they've been all season when Arsenal rolled in, I think that, again, was slightly... I know they haven't been great, but if you thought they weren't going to try and step up a little bit against Arsenal, if you thought they were going to be as ropey as they were against the other teams, no chance. No chance whatsoever. But yeah, Madueke, Neil, what did you make of his performance? He's another one, again. I know, like I said, small things we can clutch on, but he definitely showed something, didn't he?
I'm so happy for him because he's proving many fans wrong that when we got him and our favoured left wingers were not chosen, and then we got him instead. I mean, he was getting so much abuse. I mean, I just don't understand this fan base whatsoever. I'm actually embarrassed by our fan base, totally embarrassed. Ever since that blooming channel came along, it's got worse. And I can't. The guy hasn't even started. He hasn't even kicked a ball. He hasn't even walked onto a blade of grass, and you're destroying him. Give the man a chance. Yes, everyone had other names in in their minds, and this is more important, and we have to get them. And I understand that when it's obvious, blatantly obvious that certain positions need filling. But how does anyone really know for sure that we're just going to stop there? And as it proved, we got Eze. We got him anyway, right? This guy, for me, was my player of the match for Arsenal. I mean, yes, as good as we've just talked about Mosquito and how well he done, in terms of me seeing anything happening from anyone, I thought he was sensational. He was fast, which he has now gone and proven in the England game. Was it yesterday or the day before? I mean, the goal he scored was terrific. I don't think people are really talking about it as much as they should, because that showed strength, power, speed, and finishing. And that's what he's got in his locker. And if Liverpool was slightly switched off in defence, he could have done better. I mean, there was one chance where he had a go and it got deflected and went for a corner, where he should have passed it on to Martinelli, or he should have laid it off to Martinelli because he was running right through. But they're tiny little mistakes which he's going to correct. But what I liked about him, and even all the 10 minutes I've seen him play, there's energy about this guy. There's a lot of energy and dynamism with him. And I just feel that he's going to be a really good signing. And I do think he plays better on the right. So we've got Eze for the left. Jack's been crying out for a Saka cover. I think we've got him in Madueke. And probably no one ever thought of that. Or him as a potential cover. I think we've got him. And he's going to do... I think he's just going to get better and better. And you know what also? I can see it in his face. He's determined to do well at this club. Yeah. He's got that determination. It's really funny, isn't it? I used to sit there and destroy Chelsea signings. Why are we signing all these rubbish players from Chelsea? But actually, the last few haven't been bad. Kai Havertz, I talk about him all the time. I like him. We had Jorginho come in. He did a great job for us. Madueke, we're starting to get some good players from them.
Kepa looked good in pre-season, saving penalties.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. And I think Kepa's actually going to challenge. He's not happy. He says he wants to challenge for that spot. So that's good. So Raya's not going to be comfortable. He's not going to think, oh, I'm going to be the number one all the time. It's good that you've got those two players in each position, hopefully, which is what we need to challenge on all fronts.
Yeah, Mike. What about yourself on Madueke again? You know, this is a guy that we spoke about when he was even in Holland after Spurs let him go as a kid. We said something about, there's something with this guy. Can we harvest him? Can we see what we could do with him? But it's taken a bit of a while for us to get there. But are you the same with Neil? I think this kid's going to grow. I really do. Especially after this week. I think that the other night, I think he's full of beans going into the weekend. I really do.
I think like Neil said, but I think when he was signed, when the links came out and I saw people trashing him and stuff like that, and it really affected me. I thought, this is what like Neil was saying, what is it with this fan base? And again, touching back on what you said, James, seeing this guy, what he's done at PSV, saw what he did in spells for Chelsea last season as well. Everyone seems to wants to cling on to the penalty incident with him, Palmer and Jackson when they were arguing over that. But I think with Madueke, he's got the attributes that you kind of want in terms of he's quick, he can beat someone from a standing start, dribbling as well. So he's someone that you want if you're going to break down a low block. I only think the only thing with him is just his end product a little bit. Sometimes picking out a pass and finishing selection, and you kind of hope Arteta will kind of sort that out, but not too much where he takes the natural sort of flair and everything out of him, which he's playing with at the moment. So, I'm delighted with him because he is a genuine, experienced Premier League player. He scored, for his first goal for England, so his confidence will be through the roof. He's probably going to know in the knowledge that he's going to have a good run of games now, and at the same time, Arteta won't need to rush Saka back, as well, which I think that's what happened at the end of last season, because even though he's got his numbers, Saka, it's not the Saka from before. He's still not the same person. But no, I'm just delighted with Madueke, that what he's doing, and the fact that he can play on the left hand side as well is a bonus as well. So just delighted that he's buzzing, and hopefully he'll continue with his form on Saturday.
Yeah, no, spot on. And obviously,
sorry, James.
Go on, please, Neil. Yeah, go ahead.
Just so it's clear. Also, I sat there and just destroyed our fan base for the way that he was treated. I mean, I had my reservations as well. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to think that I'm going to say, and I might sound like a bit of a hypocrite now, and looks like I'm contradicting myself, but I wasn't 100% sure about him. But I didn't go to social media and start trashing the guy. If I said anything, I said it between us lot on the WhatsApp groups, thinking, hang on a minute, we're looking at all these players and then we get this guy in. But I was positive, wasn't I? I was saying, look, so far so good in this
I will defend you by saying you never abused him or his family. Neil. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at me, Aaron Ramsdale. When you remember when we signed him, I went, oh fuck me, what are we doing? I'm like, what are we doing? I was saying all these different goalkeepers that went to all these other clubs. Now, didn't work out in the end. Fair enough. That was, some of it was his own fault. Some of that was the upgrade that come in. Sorry, I said the minute he signed, he's 10 times better than Ramsdale. Ain't going to be in goal for much longer because this guy's 10 times better than him. Plus, we all said it, Neil. Look at when he was presented, when his granddad was giving. Arteta was literally like, I have got the goalkeeper I've always wanted.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a bit like that clip in Toy Story where he's like with Woody and he just launches him. I don't want to play with you anymore because the Buzz Lightyear's come along that shines and whistles and bells and everything are on it. He was just like, forget you, bang, new one. And
no.
That's the difference, man.
Yeah.
This is it for me. I have reservations about players that we sign constantly.
Of course.
But I'm not going on Twitter saying, oh, F you, because for him, he's had Chelsea not go well. And he's probably, like you said, over the moon to be signing for Arsenal.
And his whole family,
his whole family are like, oh, look at this. He's got the shirt and everything. And then before a ball's kicked, half the bloody fan base on Twitter.
Don't.
Oh, I can't believe we've done it. You know, hashtag no to Madwecki or whatever it was that got trended.
Unbelievable.
And again, like you said, it makes us look like dicks to everybody else as well. This is why we get laughed at and clipped all the time.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we do. We've got people within our fan base, me included sometimes, make ourselves look like arseholes, mate.
But the thing is, what damage is it doing? Potentially could do to the player. It's not just about us. The damage it could potentially do to the player. Like you said, everyone was focused on the Eze signing, the Ian Wright interview. He was crying, but all the mothers, kept all his shirts and everything. What about Madueke? He's just as excited, if not more so. But no one focused on that. Everyone just sat there trashing him. So what does that do to them? And I'm sorry, I'll be honest. I know Gika scored 2 in the game against Leeds, but I think for me the most exciting forward I've seen this season so far is Madueke in our lineup.
Yeah, it's between him and Doman easily.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the new. Well, I'm not going to call him God because that's disrespecting Dennis Bergkamp. But he's close as he's the son of God. There you go.
Yeah. And we've also got Jesus in the team as well, so it's nice to have 2. But yeah, touching on Eze, Mike. Obviously, big hype before it all happened, and he come on and we all saw it. Within 5 minutes, he's better than Martinelli, and you just thought to yourself, we could have had 85 minutes of that, but or 60 or whatever it was when he hooked Martinelli off. And then obviously there's that moment where he should have shot and everything, and Arteta obviously made a piece of it after. And I think a little bit of that's been blown out of proportion slightly. I think it was necessary? Not really, but at the same point, I don't necessarily see it as Arteta specifically having a dig and blaming the loss on him, like some have said. Some have said, he's tried to find a way out here, and he's just gone, blame it on Eze, which I don't think's the case. But what did you make of him and his performance, and then obviously what happened after?
Yeah, I thought it was good. He played it safe at the beginning, but then he had that bit where he was on the touchline and he flicks it around Szoboszlai and caused a bit of panic in the Liverpool box. Just wished he would have pulled the trigger. You're kind of thinking because if he was playing for Palace, would have hit that first time, but because he's playing for Arsenal and what it means for him, is he overthinking it? Is he trying to make sure that he gets a good connection on it, and then obviously he gets a little clip or he gets pulled back a bit. But yeah, he looked like Eze. He looked silky on the ball. He literally had Liverpool on the back foot as soon as he got the ball. They just gave him a couple of yards. You could just see it. No one was going to him. They were all just trying to stay off him because they didn't want to get embarrassed by him. Just effortlessly moved people out the way. And he played a part in the chance that Odegaard maybe could have taken a shot, but he tried and find Gyökeres with a clever reverse pass as well, and it could have went to Eze if it wasn't cleared by Konate, I think, as well. But yeah, just wish he was on a bit longer. I think the substitution was too late. Should have made it maybe at the hour rather than 70 minutes. I just think the stuff at the end where he's kind of said the stuff about he should have scored, he should have taken a shot. Sorry. Yes, we were saying that in the WhatsApp chat that he should have pulled the trigger, but I think that's something that you probably keep. You kind of say, yeah, we had a couple of chances. We had one right at the end. I don't think you tag a name to it because it just gives people ammunition, and that's what people want to use against Arteta in any way, shape, or form. I just think his head goes to Mars when he loses a game. Well, when things don't go his way, you look at if you go through all the press conferences and the quotes that he makes after every time he's had a bad result, he says something stupid. He said the stuff about PSG when we lost to PSG, saying that we're the best team, and they said to him, we're the best team in the Champions League, and then they asked Enrique that, and he says, what is he smoking? Just making himself look stupid. So he keeps on. He kind of has a knack of doing that, and I think that just kind of spilled over a little bit by him saying that. The thing is, he said it twice. Said it in 2 different interviews, so it wasn't like it was a heat of the moment thing. He's actually said it twice in 2 separate interviews. So disappointing on that. I just think if it was another player, namely Kai Havertz, he would have said something completely different. Because you know, you talk about the chances he missed for us against United and Newcastle last year, and all he would say is, "Oh, I love Kai. We love him. We've just got to keep backing him." You know, he didn't point out that he missed a couple of sitters. So, you know, he needs to be careful with that. You know, and you know, obviously, you don't want to kind of pour water over, you know, Eze already. You know, or him having sort of doubts about this manager saying stuff about me in the press. But no, I think you know, it was promising, that little cameo. Just wish he was on a little bit longer. He might have got something out of the game.
Yeah, and I mentioned it as well in other places, but Liverpool for me made their subs at the right time, and obviously they got the momentum. I mean, they saw what Arsenal were doing. They were like, right, they've come here, and I thought they might have thought they're going to actually try and go for us, and we'll see what we can do. You know, we'll see if we can hold on to it and what have you. And they realised, like Neil said earlier, that it looks as though they're playing for a 0-0 here. I might put a bit more of my quicker players on, and that's what happened. Obviously, Zubimendi just got turned by Curtis Jones and Foul, and obviously Szoboszlai. I thought, again, as soon as he put the ball down, Neil, I think all of us in the chat, didn't we, went, don't like this. And I think as soon as he put the ball down, and I know people have said, oh, Raya, when he does these, like against Man United last season away, he really goes far on one side. I'm like, this guy's got one of the best reflexes in the league. I don't mind. He's quick enough for me. He's small enough. You know, it's not like he's a big, tall goalkeeper and, you know, he's carrying weight and what have you. He's good size, good stature. He's agile enough. I just think it was a worldie. And, you know, I can't abide Arnie's slot, but I did agree with what he said about, you know, 10 times we play that game, 8 times it's a draw. 1 time they beat me, 1 time I beat them. And that's the only time I've actually sat there and went, that's probably the most honest thing I've heard come out your mouth. But yeah, it's just a tough one to take. And obviously you've got to lick your wounds for a fortnight, really, haven't you, until your next game. But what I wanted to just quickly touch on before we
Can I just
please do.
Just before we move on, you can't criticize Raya for anything for that goal. I just don't think you can. I think you just got to hold your hands up, and as Arsenal fans, and we've got to say that's a great free kick. The way Rice done Real Madrid twice, there's not, you know, arguably it's the best goalkeeper in the world. You know, he couldn't get anywhere near it. I mean, end of the day, I same with this. I think I said that. I said we lauded Rice's because we were on the favourable end of that one. At the same token, as fans, if we're true fans, we've got to say we've got to clap our hands. So that's a fantastic free kick. And you're right about Haag. He did say that Slot. Sorry, am I saying Haag for Slot? He did.
They're both annoying and Dutch, mate.
They're both. I've got mixed up with the 2 of them. He did say, didn't he? And he was quite fair. He said, look, he thought that was an even game. And it was going to take just one moment of magic from either, because he thought they were quite. He said we had the better of the first half, which I thought, but then the second half, I knew it. I think I might have said it to you, James, or in the chat. I can't remember. I said the crowd's got going now. That's it. They've got the crowd. That's it. We're done. I saw it coming. I saw it coming. I wasn't even surprised when they scored, and I think we can only blame ourselves for not being a bit more gung ho. But you can't blame Raya. The only other thing I wanted to say. And I'm sorry to bring this up again, and I feel bad because I've loved the guy from day one. Martinelli should not be playing at the moment for us. If he's not, he's at a completely loss of confidence. He's not adding anything. Yes, he does a bit of defensive work, but I keep spouting out, he's not a blooming defender. Everyone keeps going about, but he's really good at tracking back. He's not a defender. He's an attacker. If you want to make him a defender, do what I said and change him with Calafiore. Because I think Calafiore is doing a better job. And everyone laughs at me, but I'm telling the truth. I think Calafiore at the moment is doing a better attacking job than Martinelli is, because he's more enterprising at going up front and going, running at defenders. See, Martinelli can't get past defenders anymore. He gets taken out, or he just does that silly pass, and it just doesn't. It's not effective. The guy, I wish him all the very best, and I hope he can rekindle some of that form. But he's not progressed for me. We've got Eze now. I will be fuming if he does not start Eze in the next game. If Martinelli is starting that game, I will be fuming. I'm sorry to say that. And it's not a slight on Martinelli. I love the guy, but you're not on form at the moment, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on, because Soboslai's playing at right back, and that's a number 8 or a number 10, and he's playing as a right back. And Martinelli, one thing we all say is the pace. Okay, he never looks up, and he might run it off the pitch, or he'll try and do something and fall over his own feet, or he won't get the pass right, or he won't get. But the one thing we do know he has is pace. And you'd have just thought to yourself, unless, because I've had people say, is it him or is it the fact that it's been coached out of him? And I think it's a mixture of both. I think one, he's down on his, his chips are so down that he needs something monumental to pick him back up again. But I think a lot of it's been coached out of him as well, because he is the guy that Arteta ridicules the most. We've all three of us have been in there live and seen he tons into Gabby Martinelli more than any player. And for me, there comes a time where, and I've done it at my work, and I know it's nowhere near high level of football, but I've had my boss in my ear, and in the end, I've done what needed to be done, but I've done it a completely different way, and I've done it in my way, and I've just gone, shut up, mate, I've done it. And that's where, to me, I'm looking at Martinelli going, where's your bit, because I know for a fact, Neil, if it's an Eze, even a Madueke, I've seen Saka, Odegaard, Rice even, I've seen them turn to him and go, I've seen him turn to Arteta and go, mate, let me play just for 5 minutes, chill yourself. But he's so, if there was to be someone that was described as a teacher's pet at Arsenal, I'd say Martinelli's got to be the number one, because he lets him completely go at him all the time, with instruction, with ridicule, with praise and everything. And that's it, is that, again, it's the control thing. I think sometimes he's so obsessed in these little 5-10%ers all around the pitch that, again, it goes back to the point I made earlier, in that you just let a game be a game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, sometimes you just got to let things flow. It's not going to be as perfect. I don't want, Unai Emery, Watford, 25 shots conceded chaos, but sometimes there's going to be, it's going to be a bit cagey. But it's like you said about best defence in the league and in Europe and everything. I think if you added last season, we were best by 7 goals more than any other team. And I think the season before we were by about 5 or 6 as well. So there's 2 years of evidence there that you've got the best. So let them be a bit tested. Doesn't matter, let it loose a little bit, because these guys are, they're rear guarded. They know what they're doing. They're not bad players. But I'll go to you, Mike, on this one. Obviously, Neil, you said about Madueke being your man of the match, and I always pick one on here. It's pretty obvious. Mosquera for me. Mike, is it a double for Mosquera or a double for Madueke, or have you just got someone that we've not even brought up, and you could be a complete curveball into the whole thing?
Yeah, I think Madueke, just his determination, in the attitude, and the way he was always kind of on the front foot, always trying to put it on Kirkes as well. Had our shot on target as well, didn't he? Had another shot which was deflected over. So all the good attacking stuff sort of came from him. But yeah, Mosquera, was brilliant as well. But I'll probably just give it to Madueke. Even in the second half, he was kind of shut down a little bit. Didn't really get the ball as much, but even when he did, he tried to make something happen. And that's what you want from your attackers. You want an action. You want a cross, or you want a shot, or you want to pass into the box. And he was doing that. Martinelli wasn't doing that. He's touching on Martinelli. If I was in charge, and that break we had when he's got Gyökeres on his left and he's running, and then the ball ends up going out for a goal kick. It's like it gets to the point where I'm just going to try and play for a corner, and he couldn't even get that. I'm telling Max Dowman or Eze to warm up. You're coming on in a minute. That's what I'm doing. I'm sorry, but that's like, no, come on, man. You're taking the mick now. That just summed him up for me. He's just devoid of all confidence and flair that he once had, and I think it's been coached out of him a little bit, and it's affected his confidence, and he's just a complete shadow of that player. But yeah, sorry, I digressed. I definitely would give Madueke the man of the match for us.
Nice. No, good. He deserves it. Yeah, he's been a good player. But yeah, just quickly moving on. Obviously, the window's shut, and Hincapié come in, another defensive signing. Looks the real deal. Looks no mess. Left back and centre back. We like multifaceted players at this club, so we'll have a bit of that. And obviously, Jack sent the clips into the group of him and McAllister having a bit of a ding dong and him just laughing at him. So he's endeared himself to me just on that. And I'm excited to see him play. Don't think he'll play this game at the weekend from the start, but yeah, I'm excited to see what he'll do in the squad. But I'll go obviously to you first, Mike, and then to Neil afterwards. But just overall, what your thoughts were on the window, and then a bit added on to what I said earlier about Arteta not really, in my opinion, having anywhere to hide now, and what you think of that because of what he's been given. And do you really believe in his approach to these big moments and these big games, or do you think he's going to continue in the vein that he always has, even though he's got all of this at his disposal now? Because for me, and I saw someone mention it the other day, and it did make me laugh, but I thought it was the best way to describe it, in the Mikel Arteta, when he gets the Christmas decorations down out the loft, he puts on a high vis. That and then someone replied, yeah, when he eats soup, he wears armbands. They just said that's the kind of guy that he is. But that one's made Neil laugh. But what say you, Mike? I mean, I don't like being as critical, and as that to me it seems slightly nasty. But do you think he can handle all this? Because we've seen where he's had to rotate before, and obviously, he like he said, he didn't have the players. He has them now. So do you trust him really? But I've got a long way around it. But do you trust him to handle? Because it's 3 games a week coming up.
Yeah. Going starting from the top. So the transfer window, was I happy with it? Yes. The only thing I would probably say I wouldn't, what we haven't addressed, is a proper left winger, like a proper natural left winger, because I know Madueke can play there, but he's more of the Saka sort of replacement, cover. I don't know Eze can play there, but I think that's the only thing for me that maybe we didn't get another left winger, and possibly a natural striker, but then obviously Marino has kind of flipped that upside down because of what he did midweek, and everyone now, all the top gooners coming out saying, "Oh, look, there you go. There's our number 9. Just you don't have to worry about it anymore." In terms of Arteta and the pressure, this is it. I think if you go on paper, if you compare our squad to everybody else's, we've probably got the best squad in the league in terms of depth and the actual quality drop off. Liverpool, stocks up in attack. They probably could do with an extra one, but defensively, I think they're in big trouble if anything happens to them. If Virgil goes down, or Canate continues to dream of Madrid and swapping texts with Trent and saying what's it like over there, I think they're in big trouble. But I think depth wise, we've got the best. We've got the best squad in the league. So in that aspect, yes, I think Arteta's under massive pressure. He has to be. He's been given all the tools. Bert has given him the best squad that I can remember seeing in terms of quality since 03-04. And that's going back over 20 years. So I think he has to deliver. He has to prove that he's the man now. If he can't do it, then we get the next one in. That's how it has to be, And there's context. Do you sack him if he gets 93 points and we lose the league by 1 point, or do we get do you sack him if we get to the Champions League final and we lose by a dodgy penalty, and so there's all different contexts the way we're playing it, but I think now he's got nowhere to go really. He the injuries or whatever like that, we've got the squad to sort of absorb that. He's got to trust the squad with the 3 games a week. That's like you said, that's coming up. He's got nowhere to hide. He's got nowhere to hide. He just needs to trust in, you know, letting us attack a little bit more freedom, I think. And it starts on Saturday. You know, it's going to be a tough game, but you know, we can't be, you know, those games that we drew last year. You know, there's ridiculous numbers, 14 draws. It's a joke. But no, I think the pressure's on him, and it's a good thing. It should be on him. He shouldn't be comfortable. You know, he shouldn't be comfortable. You know, and as much as the pressure's on him, the pressure's on Slot as well. Because I don't care what anyone says. If you're dropping 400 or 1 million and you've broken the record, the transfer record twice, you can't be turning around and saying that we're the favourites. You know, I'm expecting Liverpool to lift 2 trophies this year. If they don't, then you've got to start asking questions about Slot, haven't you? Really? So the pressure's on him as well. So that's you know. You got to have pressure, and I think it's on it, and it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with it. If he goes with his favourites, or does he, you know, actually try to make things work properly? Because I think one of the worries is he's going to try and maybe force, you know, Havertz back into the team, maybe at the detriment of it. I don't know. We just have to see. And yeah, I think the pressure is going to be good, because obviously we all want Arsenal to win. But you kind of worry about what, you know, Arteta, is his ego going to get in the way? But anyway, you know, I'm rambling. But yeah, good window. Could have done with a left winger and maybe another striker, but he's got nowhere to turn though. He's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, and Neil, basically same sort of question for yourself. You know, does he need to take off his oven gloves when he opens the fridge? Is that something that Arteta needs to do?
I like that. That's good. I thought I had to think about that for a sec. Then I realised what it meant. It's brilliant. Thanks, James. And I can't laugh before I start, can I? Calm. Okay. Window. I was actually happy with it even before we got before we got the taser that is Eze, and before we got the ghetto blaster that is Hitachi. I was already pleased with the window, to be honest. I hear what Michael is saying. I think if we had offloaded Martinelli and Trossard, then yes, then of course, then we're definitely lacking in the LW. But to be honest, we haven't got rid of them, and I'm not saying that they should be starting. Certainly not Martinelli at the moment with his confidence. But I know that Trossard can come in, even with his attitude. He can come in and sometimes do a good job for us. So I'm not overtly concerned by that, but I think it's something that needs to be addressed in the next summer window, and I think hopefully will be. Because we've got to make some sales. We've got to make some sales. If there's any criticism, it's our selling policy or our selling structure or the way that any of it that is done. And I know it's because you guys quite really said it, because we put too many of these players on too high a wage, and then it's difficult to shift them. But we've got to change something around that, and we've got to start. It's still so embarrassing that Ox is our biggest ever signing, which was 7 or 8 years ago. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. We need to change that. So any disappointment for me in the window is actually from our sales point of view. The purchases I'm more than happy with, and then to get those 2 late signings is just a massive bonus. I thought it was the icing on the cake. You know, people are worried about Gyökeres. I still see a fundamentally good player who I think can be prolific with goals, but we have to adapt to him to a certain degree, and we've got to give him the service that he can thrive on, very much like his open play goal that he scored. If you looked at the statistics, I was just watching Match of the Day before we came on, and it's alarming that we're only better than Sunderland in open play in terms of, is it XG or something? And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, we've got, look at it on paper, look at what we've got in our forward lineup. That's got to change. But it's got to change along with the way we play. We have to play to our players' strengths, and that is where I'm worried about Arteta. You know, this softly approach, it's not going to cut it. Michael was absolutely spot on. The writing is on the wall for him, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I was very happy when he came on board. I was many years ago in the pods. I was saying that everyone was having a go at him to going to Man City. He'd done all these coaching badges with us. He went off to Man City, and they were calling him a traitor and all this kind. I was thinking, no, I think He's done the right thing. He's going to come back to Arsenal, be an Arsenal manager one day. I saw that coming because I thought if he's straight away given the job from Wenger, then everyone's just going to see him as Wenger Mark II. And you know how toxic things got with some of the idiots in our fan base with Wenger. I think that was exactly the right thing for him to have done. Did he come to us a little bit too earlier than expected? Maybe. But the point is, he's been with us, 6 years now? So as Michael said, there's nowhere to hide. The buck now lies with him. Berta has done a magnificent job. Clap for him because he's done an amazing job. I think if you want to ask me who the signing of the window is, it's him. No, seriously, it's him. It's him. He's the signing of the window to enable us to get all these players in. So now, sorry, he's done his job. He can go now and put his feet up, smoke his cigar, get the Sunday Times out. And now he's got to watch Arteta do his thing. And he's got nowhere to hide. And that means rotating. That means trusting Ethan, you dumb eyebrow person, you, right? People like him. Why aren't you playing these attacking players with flair? All right, I will give him credit where credit's due, like you do, and Michael, where you do, James. He is giving Downman minutes, which I'm absolutely gobsmacked about. But I don't think he's got any blooming choice because that guy is not of this world. He's not of this world. All I'm worried about is, I think you guys sent me a clip. Was it you, Michael? Sent a clip to the group where he's getting absolutely mullered. And I'm just worried that someone's going to do him a really bad, touch wood. That never happens. But because, my God, he's some player. But just moving him aside for a second, you've got so many other good players at your disposal. If you now don't start playing all of them, rotating them, because there are no easy games, and we have got many games coming in thick and fast. And we want to, I'm sorry to say this, for me, he has to win one of the big two this season. He has to. The FA Cup isn't good enough. As much as I love the FA Cup and I want to win that, he has to win one of the big two this season. And that's where I'll stand on it. And I'll say no more.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And, I saw people still, even after that game, saying about how he's a novice manager and, give him some leeway. It's his first ever. And I'm like, whoa. I said 6 years into something. I said in 6 years, I shouldn't be asking whether you know how to do subs properly or if you can pick a lineup. After 6 years, I shouldn't be asking that question. And also, there was a manager, like you said, Neil, that was borderline hounded out of our football club, that when he was 6 years into a job, he went, I've got a team that's not going to lose a game in the league. And they went and done it when he was 6 years into a job. And he never got £172 million worth of striker and nearly £1 billion worth of everything else. So this is, again, like you said about the fan base earlier, Mike, they make a ton of excuses as to why they hated Arsene Wenger towards the end. Yet all of a sudden, when you put that same sort of pressure on this manager, you can't say that. You don't say that about him. You can't say that. You can't have it both ways. And that's where I will leave that discussion. But Nottingham Forest at the weekend, line up. Here we go, as I always do. David Raya in the goal, Timber at right back, Mosquera with Gabriel. Arsenal's Player of the Month, shout him out, Calafiori. Well done on winning that award, and he's in the Premier League Player of the Month running as well. That gets announced tomorrow. He's not going to win that because that's all voted for by virgins that support Chelsea and Liverpool, and will probably vote the Chelsea and the Liverpool player for it instead of Calafiori. Zubimendi, Odegaard and Rice for me in the middle. And then back your £172 million new strike force. Play all three of them. Play Eze, play Gyökeres, and play Madueke. Because for me, Man United, many, many moons ago, got a 50-goal season out of Rashford, Greenwood and Martial. I said it was a fluke at the time. A lot of other people said it was a fluke at the time. They never matched it. This manager got us our highest ever scoring season in a Premier League history. Most goals we ever scored, and that was Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard. And people said, is that a fluke? And I went, that's a bit harsh, actually. But no, they're right. They're right. They're not going to replicate. If we can get I would love to see Odegaard get another 19, 20 goal a season. Martinelli get another 50. It's not happening.
Yeah.
So back who you've got. And then also the last 3 years of the Premier League, every team that's won it, which is Liverpool and Man City back-to-back twice, they've all had the top scorer in the league, which was Haaland twice and Salah twice with 25-plus goals. For me, the only person still, even though he's brand new to the league, that I feel can get 25 plus goals in our team is Gyökeres. So fucking use him, like you said, to the best of your abilities. Play these players that can give him the ball, but do it quickly. Not this where it's like, oh, he's not moving for me. But no, you need to he's on it. He's on it. We saw it against Leeds. Look at Calafiori. Like you said, Neil, people going, oh, he didn't mean that. Calafiori knew if I ping it into that area, he's on his bite. He's gone. That's what you need to do. He's got the 14 on his back for a reason. Thierry Henry, those players instinctively knew, if I ping this just a little tiny bit to the left there, to the right there, or down the middle, he's going to run and do it. And that's this guy. I'm not saying he's as good as Thierry Henry, because no one that I've seen as a striker at Arsenal will be as good as Thierry Henry. But he's certainly better than the rest that we've had for a very, very long time. So play to our strengths, for God's sake.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm going I think I said 2-1 win on Purely, so I'm sticking with it. I think we're going to win 2-1.
You scored. Who's your scorer?
I think I said Gabriel, because if they've got Ange in there now, they can't defend set pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael, do you want to go or shall
I? Yeah, go on, Neil.
Okay, well, apart from the fact that you haven't got 11 Dobermans there, because that would be my perfect team, I completely agree. I mean,
he doesn't even have a picture on the app,
mate.
I don't know if it's because he's a child. They don't let his picture.
I don't know, Michael or James, if you know any secret societies, they're just kidnapping, clone him 10 other times, and then just play him, the whole team, just, take over Arsenal somehow. And yeah, if we had Thanos' power, we'd do that, wouldn't we, Michael? Just click with the fingers and we would sort the world out, I'm telling you, within seconds. But anyway, I agree with that team lineup 100%. That is who we have to go as our starting
You're
lineup.
going as well, aren't you? You want to see that.
Yeah. Oh God, I completely forgot that. yeah. I think Matt, if he's on the chat, I'm meeting Matt there. So, but yeah, I think that team lineup is spot on, James. I 100% agree with that. If he starts Martinelli, I'm going to be at a loss. However, if he starts that, then we're going to score 6. We're going to go 6-0. Honestly, I think we're going to go 6-0. And I'm going to go with. I'm actually going to go with Madueke, because I think he's going to be. That's my first scorer. I think he's going to score the first goal. But I think we're going to have a very good day on Saturday. That's my belief.
Nice. And Mike, what you thinking, mate?
Yeah, just a little bit spooked with the whole Ange coming in. You know what I mean? And Forest are a good side. Obviously, they got pumped by West Ham, didn't they? Before the international break. But yeah, I think we should have too much for them, especially if we play that lineup that you said. That'll be the lineup I'll definitely pick as well, James. But knowing him, he probably stick with Martinelli and play Marino as well. Probably stick with that just to prove a point, just to say I know what I'm doing, sort of thing. But yeah, I don't think what's his name? Is it the right back Aina?
Yeah,
he's
Aina,
injured, so he's not playing, and he's quite good. So
he's a very good player. Yeah.
Yeah, they might be a little bit weak there. So I'm going 3-1, and I'm going Eze to score on his home debut.
Love to see it.
That would be amazing. First time in the red and white at home in front of Neil. I think he's going to turn it on. He definitely have a couple of shots. He does like to have a shot, so I'm sure that he'll crack one in.
He's definitely scoring in the 6, Michael. Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, 3-1 and Eze, yeah. We need to win, because obviously, bounce back from last week, the fortnight, and the games we've got coming up. Obviously, City and Newcastle was on it. Tough September.
Yeah, we have to win.
Yeah. Well, just quickly before we wrap up as well, just thanks to there's people in the chat. There's 2 that I've never seen before, so hello to you, and that's AR. And then Full Football, who asked a question. So I will end on that. But yeah, thanks again, Matt, as well. I haven't seen you for a very long time. So yeah, pleasure to have you back, man. It's always good. He's always supported us from, I think he's come everywhere with us. He's been from Purely. I think he's come and been in there with you, Mike, and been in here with me. So yeah, thanks. Thanks as always, Matt. But yeah, Full Football just asked, do you guys rate Odegaard wearing the armband? I've got no problem with it whatsoever. I know what Tony Adams said. And I don't necessarily think he's wrong. And I know people turned it into him, and we discussed that at the time. But yeah, no, for me, Odegaard, no problem with him wearing the captain's armband at the moment. But he's definitely being judged under a very, very big microscope from myself at the moment. So we will see. I've always said you don't become a shit player overnight. So I think he's going to come back, and he's cut his hair now, and he's had a trim. So he might mean business now that he's shaved the old. Yeah. We'll see what happens. But what about you? I'll go to you, Neil, and then Mike. What do you think?
I'm not agreeing with Tony Adams because I love Tony Adams. He's my favourite ever player. But I actually believe Declan Rice should be captain only because I think he's better suited to that job, and I think it will, in fact, for me, make Odegaard a better player because he won't have the stress of the captaincy on his head. I've seen it with cricketers. I know this is a completely different sport. I've seen cricketers being given the captain's armband and they've just lost form because
was it Marcus Trescothic that got it and got really unwell?
Yeah, there's been loads from all different countries. All different countries. I've seen it. I mean, I've been a cricket fan as much as a football fan, since again the 70s, and I've seen cricketers, who have been absolutely sensational at the game, whether it be batting or bowling. They're given the captain's armband and they lose form. And I think, I'm not saying that is the reason for Odegaard. I'm not saying that or suggesting that one bit, but I just feel that having that pressure off him and him focusing on it, whereas I think Declan Rice would be the converse. I think he'll revel in the fact that he's captain, and I think it will make him a better player being a captain. It will make Odegaard a better player not being. But this is just my opinion. Again, what do I know? I'm just a silly little fan, who sits in the back streets just watching along. But it's just my opinion, so I don't want to get destroyed for it. But I would prefer Declan Rice as a captain. That's my opinion.
Fair enough. And Mike, yourself?
Yeah, my captain by choice would be Rice or Gabriel. They would be my captains of choice. But I think with Odegaard, I think it's because of he kind of leads by example in terms of how he sort of leads the press and everything. He's kind of like Arteta's voice on the pitch. He's always talking to him and everything as well. I think when was it 22, 23, or was it 23, 24? Yeah, he was amazing then. But yeah, I just think maybe the responsibility going so close, maybe the last couple of seasons, maybe that's reflected. Maybe he's taken that maybe personally. Maybe he's taken it to heart. Maybe that's the maybe I haven't gotten over the line because of me, maybe. And if he's feeling that way, then obviously someone like Arteta should maybe make a decision to maybe take that away. But that could be subconsciously the thing that's affecting him. Maybe that just his form, thinking, I haven't been able to lead this team over the line, the last couple of seasons. So, but I think, yeah, I think he had a good international break, didn't he? And so, and obviously, yeah, like you said, with a new haircut, maybe it's a new man. So maybe let's see, he tears things up on Saturday. Sorry, then no one will be questioning him being captain anymore. So fingers crossed, he comes back and he bangs one in on Saturday and kicks into gear again.
Yeah, well, I certainly hope so. And maybe if I cut my hair, I might be able to be a better host to get it under an hour, mightn't I? Cheers, guys. Thank you so much, guys. But yes, before we go, Neil, if anybody else wants to, well, you said about the back streets. So if anyone knows where the back streets are, that's where Neil will be. But if people want to hear more, see more, where do they go?
Just plain simple Neil. Sometimes comes on your podcast, Michael's or Jack's or Richard's, and that's it. That's where you find me.
Good man. And Mike, you've got it there. And as always, it's in the bio of the audio and the video. But yeah, if anyone wants to hear and see more of you, where do they go?
Yeah, Arsenal Above All, the YouTube channel, and obviously on X, Blue Sky, and everywhere else, Instagram and stuff. But yeah, just happy to keep doing shows with yourself and Neil and the other guests that come on as well. And looking forward to it, to doing more shows this year, because I think it's going to be a big season. As I said, I think right at the very top, we've got to make sure we record as much so we can look back on this with our grandkids and stuff and say, look, we were talking about the Arsenal with special times and stuff. So fingers crossed. But yeah, thanks for having me on again, James. Really appreciate it. And good to chat to you again, Neil. And yeah, hopefully have you. I think me and James are going to run it back to back on Monday, like Kendrick Lamar and Drake. When they doing a diss track, back to back. So I think we'll be doing a show on Monday on a review. Neil, you're more than happy to come on, mate, and then we can be a proper.
So it'll be the other way around. You'll be at the top. James will be
there.
and it'll be under an hour because Mike's doing it as well.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, mate. But,
it won't run over. It won't run over time.
All right, that's the date. Then. That's the date. I wear my best frock. It's the date.
Yeah, so hopefully, yeah. But I really appreciate all your support, James, and inspiring yourself, Neil. Always inspiring me whenever watch you guys on whatever shows you're on. So yeah, great stuff. Thanks for all the comments as well. It's really good in the chat.
Likewise, I want to say thank you to you guys. Just it's amazing that you guys asked me to come on your podcast, and I've done so well, and I'm just honoured to be on them. So thank you so much. And equally, like what Michael just said, everyone that supports the pods, contributes on the live shows, and even if they're rewatching, they're retweeting and liking on the the platforms. Just want to say a big thanks to all of them. So thank you both so much for always inviting me on. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. And just lastly, before I go, be very remiss of me, especially on this day. I got a lot. I check my audio listeners, I check my video listeners, and I have a lot that are American based, and I have a lot that are based in New York. So again, 24 years ago today, one of the most harrowing things I think I've ever seen in my life. I come in from school, and I thought my dad was watching a film. I was convinced that it was a film, and no, it was incredibly real. So shout out to everyone over there in America. And I know yesterday was a tough day over there as well, but just, stay safe and look after each other. And I know Saturday in London could potentially be another pressure cookers hype day, but just go to the game, try and stay away from that if you can, and get home safe. And, a very, very close friend of mine and a person we all admire and loved when he had our shirt on, always said, tell your loved ones you love them. And that's how I'll end that today. So yeah, look after yourselves, everybody. And thanks and take care. Much love.